Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another unboxing for Marvel Villainous. This is the Twisted Ambition set, the third to fourth box it's out. Because there's the base game, then there is the first big expansion, which has it's a standalone expansion, just like this one, where it has 3 characters. So you can sit down, each person can play a 3-player game, or you can combine it with the other games and play more players. And it says the third or fourth because there was also the Venom set that came out, which is a solo figure, which is the first Villainous solo figure. I've done an unboxing for that. You can definitely check that out. Yeah, so lots of cool stuff there. Yeah, alright, so then let's hop in. So this is a brand new set. It's been kind of speculated for quite a while because we saw Doc Ock on the back side of the last expansion. So here are brand new villains. We have Titana, Doctor Octopus, and Kang the Conqueror. So that definitely kind of fits into the timeline of what they're trying to do is keeping some of the characters from the DC universe around, because that's what a lot of casual people are going to know, and comic book fans can be excited too. So of course we have Kang to fit in with the Ant-Man movie, Titania to fit in with the She-Hulk TV show, and then Doc Ock just because, hey, we need some Spider-Man representation in here. Now they do show the Venom set down there. Now this on here I do have, it says it's the exclusive game piece. It has this cool slip cover, says Doc Ock on there. I'm going to go ahead and pop this off. This is what you would see if you just head into the store and pick this up, unless you bought it at Target. Target has the special slip cover and the special game piece. The only difference in the game piece is the Doc Ock one is it's metallic on the Target set, and it's just the regular gray on the regular gameplay. Otherwise, all the other cards, content, and everything else is the exact same. Target's been doing this for a while. They get a pre-release version of this game before everybody else, like exclusive rights for a while, and they always come out with a different colored or style piece. You get one of them's like a bronze or like metallic looking or whatever, but it doesn't affect any of the gameplay. Alright, so what is, in case you haven't seen any of the other Villainous, or maybe this is your first one, what is this game and what is the point of it? The point of it is you're going to take control of one of the villains. You are going to have a domain, which is going to allow you to choose different actions you can do and complete your goals. Every character, every villain has a different goal they're trying to complete. So this makes them all very, the overall gameplay is the exact same for every character. You have a hand of cards, you have resources you use to play for stuff. You get bonus tokens to help boost your characters or lure enemy characters, you fight characters. You move around the board, you perform actions. All that stuff stays the same, but each character has a different thing they're trying to compete for, to do. Sometimes, this is just in general for all the Villainous games, including the Disney ones, or even the Star Wars ones, but the general thing is some of them could be trying to, hey, they have to collect 20 power. One character might have to defeat a specific another character. Another one might have to collect X number of object cards from their deck, or maybe they have to have a certain object or hero appear on their side of the board and then move to a different area of the board, and then they have to do something then. There's all sorts of different stuff, but it's them trying to complete their schemes, or their different goals. Setup is very simple. Each player has their own deck, which will have their own back on there, so you can easily tell whose deck it is. And then they'll also have, so they should have a picture on the back. So for example, here is Doctor Octopus's deck. It's going to say Doctor Octopus on the back. Has very Doctor Octopusy looking pictures on there. So you can easily tell him apart from every other character. Then each one also kind of has their own color, which also helps match, like you can see in here, gray, purple, and blue. So it just helps to keep track of them a little bit easier. Yeah, that's basically it for setup. And then you put your character on the board, And then they might have a special setup rule depending on what character it is. You'll have a villain guide and a reference guide. I'm not going to go into every single step on gameplay, but setup is fairly simple. This is what the board will look like after playing for a while. You're going to have various allies you've played on the bottom, or items you've played on your half of the board, which are what you're trying to help achieve goals. You have heroes that might pop up at the top and will be hindering your plans. They'll be blocking off symbols so you can't use different abilities. And they're just stuff you have to try and beat. And then there's also, in the Marvel one exclusively, there are also effects that might happen up at the top, which are global fate cards. Fate are the good guys trying to stop the villains. And the Marvel one, they'll have some that can hit globally, which could affect every single villain, so the villains may have to work together to try and beat it, depending on what it is or how badly it's affecting you. Yeah, they're showing some mid-game examples again. On your turn, you have very interesting options. So you move your villain from one space to the next, perform any actions in that spot, however you want to do it. And then, at the end of your turn, if you have fewer than 4 cards in your hand, you draw cards until you have 4 hands. This helps you by drawing at the end of your turn, that you can kind of start planning what you're going to do on your next turn while the other players are taking turns, instead of having you draw at the beginning of the turn, and having every other player have to sit there and wait while you mull over what 3 new cards you just drew and what you want to do with them. Because, for the most part, you don't interact with each other too much. The Disney one, you don't really do it almost at all. This one you will a little bit more, because you will have to move characters from one board to the other. But it's not like a traditional game where I'm attacking you or you're attacking me. It's just if they play a fate card, they might play it on you. Different actions you can do. You can gain power. They'll be all represented by these special symbols, which will be on the boards. This is what you use for currency to pay for your cards. There'll be a picture of a card with an arrow in it. This lets you play a card. So you might not be able to play a card every single turn. It depends on if the space you're landing on has that particular symbol. We have actions, which is a card with some arrows around it. Lets you activate action abilities on your cards. Relocate, which has a card with movement arrows around it, lets you move your cards either in your domain to a global event or maybe to an opponent's board to mess with them. Vanquish, which kind of shows like a broken circle or gear type thing. This is for fighting another hero or defeating someone. We have Fate, which is a lightning cloud with lightning arrows. Like you draw the fate arrows, the heroes that might have to do stuff, and then discard. There's going to show you removing a card from your hand. And this can be very helpful if you have cards in your hand that you can't use because you can't pay for them. They're duplicate cards. They don't help you in that situation, or you are just, in general, maybe you're looking for a specific other card. By discarding cards from your hand, lets you draw new cards at the end of the round so you can get more things. So you don't ever want to just sit around 3-4 turns in a row. Oh, I can't play this. I can't play this. I can't do this. I might need this later. It's better to get rid of it and look for something new. And then card types are broken down into some various types. There are ally cards, which are going to be red text on the bottom. These are various characters, henchmen, minions, other people that might help you, whether they want to or not. And then in the bottom corner, they have a strength, which is how much damage they can do to a hero. We have item cards, which generally come into play either just they stay in play and do something, or they attach to a specific character ally. Effect cards are one-time things. They come in, they do something, they go away. And then characters have specialty cards, which have special abilities that will sit on your board. But they might have certain specific requirements to play them. They're kind of like their big bonus cards. Then the last type is just actually a separate set of decks, which are fate cards. These have a white back. And so if we look at Doctor Octopus's, his is just going to have Fate on the back. It's just going to have a bunch of hero symbols. So every single character's deck will have the same Fate back, whether it's Doc Ock's or Kang's, or if we're playing other sets, Venom, Loki, Thanos, they're all going to have the same one, as well as the global deck limit, because you mix them all together. But in the bottom corner, if it's specific towards a villain, it'll have their symbol in the bottom corner. So if that ever gets you drawing, you have to play it on that character. But if you draw one without a symbol, then it affects everybody. Just kind of a neat thing. It's one big distinction from if you've seen the Disney ones, because the Disney characters only have ones that affect each other. And there can be heroes in there which work just like allies, except they're heroes, so they're always going to be in yellow. Items and effects, which will still be green and blue. So they kept the colors, which are a really nice idea, the same if it's the same type of card or fills the same type of slot. Because that items and effects are going to work the same, but you have a card that affects an item, it could affect your item or a Fate card item because they're still items. But if you have a card that affects a hero, it's only going to affect a yellow hero. If you have a card that affects an ally, it's only going to affect a red ally. They're not interchangeable. Then the other newer special type of cards are events, which are turned sideways. So event cards are played on the board, and they're gonna have a bigger thing you have to deal with. They might penalize a certain person or different things, but they have rewards for beating them. And it says if there's any global ones, any villains that have allies that also receive their reward. So if you team up with somebody else, you can both get multiple rewards. So it's definitely a fun idea there as well. Cool. Then there's some different game modes you can play as well. And then how to mix and match all that stuff. Cool. Then there's Venom to show off. He was going to be part of the next set. Alright, so let's go ahead and hop in and see what we actually have here. Whoops. So to start off, we're going to look at Doc Ock. So there's his little instruction book, and we'll get into that in just a moment. And actually, before we jump into that, I didn't show off. Let's show off some of the tokens. We have 10 of the double-sided plus-minus strength counters. And then we have 25 power tokens. That's almost the only thing that gets a little frustrating about these standalone games, is because after you've bought 3, 4, 5 of them, and every set has to come with those counters, you end up with so many you don't need. Like, the first set, it's cool. I bought the second set, great. Now I got some. I can put some on this side of the table, some for that. Yeah, but by this point now, it's like, if you bought all the Marvel ones, you have three full sets of them. And it's like, I guess I don't really need this many. But, that's what happens. Alright, so we have Doc Ock, and he has his board here. The fun quote, "Rage, it's in my nature, my genius coming to an end. Well, mundane and mediocre live on. No, it is unacceptable." I love the designs and artworks for these sets because they're generally new artwork. Some of them might be homages to the other one. It's like iconic artwork, but they're generally new. I love this version of Doc Ock. Looks pretty cool with the belt and everything. So then his board folds open. So the first thing it's going to say is his objective is complete 5 schemes. So he's got special schemes, which you'll see when we look through his deck, which he has to do. So not to say there's not going to be other villains in other sets that might not have scheme cards, but his is specifically he has to complete his 5 schemes. Then we have our locations. We have Atomic Research Lab, Undersea Base, the Hidden Laboratory, and the Empire State University, and a special spot over here for your specialty cards. And this is another thing that makes every character unique, is their boards are all going to be very different. So if he's at his research lab, he can gain 3 power, he can play 2 cards, and he can vanquish something. If on his next turn he moves to Undersea Base, he can vanquish, relocate cards, play a card, discard a card. Hidden Laboratory, discard, get 1 power, play a card or use a fate, and in Empire he can fate, draw or play a card, move a card, and he can gain 2 power. So overall, he has 3 spots where he can gain power. So he's probably going to jump back to his research lab a bunch because he can get that 3 power and play 2 cards, which would be very helpful. But his undersea base and university are going to let him move cards around, which might be vital to his schemes. Each one has at least 1 option to play a card, which is very helpful. He also has 2 different fate actions. But now this is, so like each turn, he has to move. So if he's on this at the beginning of the turn, he has to go somewhere else. So he can't use the same spot over and over. So he'd have to go there the next time, so on and so forth. If you get a hero card, though, they cover up them spots at the top. So that's why it's important to defeat heroes. And it's also important to note because although I said he has a draw or a play a card at every single zone, if these 2 spots get covered up, he loses his ability to play cards in 2 of the zones. If it gets on this one, he loses his number 2, so he'd have to go back to here for his extra power. Yeah, so like it never blocks completely off anything. Like there's a vanquish here, vanquish there. There's a draw here. There's always something to gain power. There's a discard up here and here. It never completely blocks off. So if all 4 spots got covered, it would never completely block off any symbol or any action to you. It's always available on one of them. It's just you end up with less and less actions. Alright. So we're going to get these little guides, which are going to let you see what the character's actually supposed to be doing. This is a really fun thing. But let's look at his miniature quick. So it's a bunch of tentacles. So these miniatures for all the Villainous games, Disney, Star Wars, all of them included, Marvel, are supposed to like little miniatures to represent what the character is, so you can easily tell without it just being a physical miniature of the character. The Marvel ones, Marvel and has a lot more ones. A lot of times they're like almost like the person's head with like armor or something, versus just like a kind of symbol, or they're a little not as vague sometimes. Like this is clearly just his tentacles. He's got the 4 of them there. This is the metallic version versus the gray one that would be in the regular set. And then Star Wars tends to have ones that are almost just busts of the character with their lightsaber. Alright, so if we look at Doc Ock, his objectives here are complete 5 schemes. Consider himself to be the greatest genius in the world has ever seen. To prove it, he must complete 5 devious and genius schemes of his own design. Each scheme outlined what it takes for Doc Ock to become the criminal mastermind he claims to be. Doc Ock has 6 schemes in his deck, and there's no order to complete them. So here each one's just going to describe what it is and how it works. I'm not going to go through all of them right here. But as scheming action, steam cards are played directly from your hand like an effect when the criteria on the card is met. You cannot play steam cards directly from the discard pile. You may not discard steam cards in your hand as you would any other, or you may discard as you would any other hand. Steams do not need a play action card to play them. Steams cost no power to play. So basically his idea behind him, since it was completed, the steam cards placed in Doc's specialty area. Steams are not specialty cards, do not be targeted by those. If you fail at completing a steam once it has been played, you must discard a steam and you must play cards for multiple steams at the same time. So his idea is he has these steam cards that are going to have some effect he needs to do. Like for instance, Sinister 6 at the very top. Have 5 allies in play. Each location must have an ally, then play the steam. So he has to do the requirements, and then he plays the steam. So your allies, so rather than having it like sitting out, like they know what you have to do and what they need to do to stop you from doing. They might not know why you're putting these cards out, specifically, or what steam you have in your hand you're trying to complete. So that's kind of a fun idea. So then they kind of like, oh, is he playing all these characters out because he's trying to get the 5 allies out? Or is he trying to get enough power to stop Spider-Man? and different things like that. So it's kind of neat. Then we have needing to activate. It has no activate icons on his board, so this is kind of a neat idea. He gains activate by playing his lab equipment. These cards are also used to complete the Master of Atomic Power scheme. So has a special one that gives him a new symbol. He has tentacles, so again, I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but yeah, so the idea here is just these little booklets tell you kind of how to play the character and what you're trying to do, which is really neat. Alright, so let's go through his card. Let's look at the back of his card again really quick before we hop in here. So I always love these. I love the artwork on these because they're just kind of show like something about the character. So we have like he's a tentacle harness with his 4 tentacles. Kind of got his goggles there. He's got some like molecular symbols, some like chemistry stuff in there, plus like an atomic thing in the middle, which is really cool. Not entirely sure if the bottom part here is supposed to be like the ripped up part. Maybe it's like he's tearing through the floor, or it's something like that. But yeah, I always love the artwork on the back of these cards. So his allies are going to be a vulture for 2 costs. So it says if you have the activate symbol, you can pay 1 power. You may play a non-Steam card from your discard pile for free. So that's actually pretty cool. So let's if you have one of those symbols. If you don't, again, he doesn't have one on his board, so you have to get one. And he has a strength of 2, so when it takes 2, he can spend 2 to defeat somebody else. We have Hobgoblin. The cost to play Hobgoblin is reduced by 1 for each Spider-Man hero in play. Cool. So it gets a little bit cheaper for Spider-Man in play. Mysterio. Relocate 1 hero at this location to any other location in another villain's domain. Oh, so that's fun. So someone plays a villain to your board to try and stop you. You can then move them just to a completely different board and not have to worry about them. Electro. All heroes at Electro's location get -1 strength. Makes him easier to beat. Sandman. When Sandman is used in a Vanquish action, you may add Sandman to your hand instead of discarding him. Okay, so what this means is when you go to Vanquish someone, if I am fighting a hero, let's use Daredevil for example. He has 4 strength down there. So if I want to beat Daredevil, who's at one of my locations, I have to go to a Vanquish action, which will look like that right there, like the split circle. And then I have to have allies on my side of on the board across from him that have equal or more strength. So currently, right now, Sandman has 3. He is not strong enough. But if I would have added Vulture in there as well, who has 2, now I have 5 points. So I can spend my 5 to defeat Daredevil's 4. But then every character involved in the Vanquish action goes to the discard pile. So you can't keep reusing your characters over and over and over, is the idea of it. And that's where Sandman has a really cool thing. So it says, if you use him for Vanquish, you may add him to your hand instead of discarding him. So you have to play him again, but he can keep coming back, so he's a good one to try and use to take out threats whenever possible. We have Craven. Each time a hero is played to a location in your domain, you may relocate Craven to that location. Also a good one for helping just to take out some of your guys, because he'll go right to them. Then we get 3 copies of Master Planner's Henchmen. When Master Planner's Henchmen are played, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may discard any number of them. Just helps you find the card you specifically need. That's a nice, cool effect. Alright, then we're going to look at his schemes. It says, taking what I want. During your turn, if you defeat any non-Spider-Man hero, you may play taking what I want. Reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. If the total cost is greater than that hero's strength, complete this scheme. Now, this could be definitely a thing of like, you defeat a character, then you reveal your cards, and you might fail. So this might be a good thing. Like Daredevil had 4, you might be able to you might have enough cards to take out a 4-cost card. but it might be better if you could find a hero that has like 1 or 2 strength. You might not want to try and face like Hulk, who might have like 6. Then we have the Sinister Six. During your turn, if there are at least 5 of your allies in your domain, and at least 1 of your allies at each location, you may play Sinister Six to complete this scheme. So this could be a good one where you might be able to like trick your opponent to not knowing what you're doing, because you could have a couple of these guys all stacked up on like 1 or 2 locations, and then use like, hey, I'm spreading them out to like take out enemies, defeat Spider-Man, some of these guys, and then use your relocate on one turn to move one of them. Oh, sweet, now I beat this, and they didn't have a chance to stop me. Master of Atomic Power. During your turn, if there's at least 1 item at each of your locations and no heroes in your domain, you may play Master of Atomic Power and complete this scheme. Control of the Underworld. During your turn, if you have no heroes in your domain, you may play Control of the Underworld, pay 10 power to complete this scheme. Building up 10 power can definitely take a while, because even with your highest one is you get 3, and you can only get that every other turn. So the best you could do is get 5 every 2 turns. Because you go 3, then 2, then 3, then 2. So it could take at least 4 turns for you to gain 10 power. But in doing that would also mean you haven't played a single card in 4 turns. So you'd have, chances are you're going to do that unless this is like your last scheme, maybe. Revenge on Spider-Man. During your turn, if you have defeated any Spider-Man hero, you may play Revenge on Spider-Man. Pay power equal to that of a hero's strength to complete this scheme. And then the last one is the Master Planner. During your turn, if you have an ally in your domain, you may play the Master Planner. Remove that ally. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. If you have 2 more allies, complete this scheme. So that could definitely be very interesting to try and pull off. But that just can make him very fun. Then we have 4 copies of lab equipment. And one of his schemes, he has to have 5 items out. So here's 4 items right here, and they're going to give you that activate ability. Here's our 5th item, Tentacles. Before Doctor Octopus moves, you may relocate Tentacles to any location and perform 1 available action at the new location. This is definitely cool. So this is an item that can sit around that you can also move to different locations, and you can perform extra things. So you could move from your one spot that had a discard option to a different spot, and then you can move your arms back over to that one to discard, or use them to relocate somebody. Gives you an extra little edge because you can access 2 different spots at once. We have 2 copies of the Effect card. The plan is foolproof. Find a scheme in your deck or discard pile and add it to Doctor Octopus's hand. So this will help you get cards, especially as cards will let you discard cards from your deck. 3 copies of Genius Scientist. Draw 5 cards, discard 4 cards from your hand. Yeah, it's all about sacrificing stuff to find what he needs. 3 copies of Always Inventing. Choose up to 3 cards from your discard pile and shuffle them into your deck. And then his last 2 cards for his deck are his specialties. No one stops Doctor Octopus. Gain power equal to the number of schemes completed. Just to help you with that one where you needed 10 power, because if you have the activate symbol out with your lab equipment, you could activate this, and if you've already completed 3 schemes, boom, there's an extra 3. And this, once this is played, it stays out in that specialty area unless you have something that discards it. And then he has Let Them Try to Defeat Me. Here you can pay X power, reveal that number of cards from the top of the Fate deck. You may play 1 revealed hero to Doctor Octopus's locations. This could help you get out that hero you need. One of them you need to defeat Spider-Man. One you need a hero that has potentially low power so you can complete that other one. This can help you find some of them cards. Definitely some cool cards there. Interesting mechanics. Then let's look at his specific Fate cards. Again, the Fate on the back here is going to have Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, Thor, Captain Marvel, Shield, and the Guardians, and then Black Widow. It's all Avenger characters because the base game is based around Avengers, and they didn't want to keep changing it, because it has to be used for everything. We're going to get Peter Parker Spider-Man. When Peter Parker Spider-Man is played, it plays one strength token item for each steam completed by Doctor Octopus. Each time Doctor Octopus completes a steam, place one strength token on Spider-Man. So he gets more powerful the closer Doc Ock gets to winning, which kind of fits with Spider-Man's theming, but it also makes this one a really hard one to beat. We have Daredevil. Heroes cannot be relocated from Daredevil's location, so once they're with him, they're stuck with him. Captain Stacy, Gwen Stacy's dad. When Captain Stacy is defeated, find any Spider-Man hero and either play or relocate them to this location. I also believe in the comics Doc Ock killed him. I believe it was Doc Ock. Black Cat, Felicia Hardy. When Black Cat, Felicia Hardy is played or relocated, remove one item from her new location. So that's actually interesting. So if, you play her, or, opponent fates you, they draw this card, they play it, they can get rid of one of your items. And that's the whole point of the fate. The fate cards are for the other players to try and throw a hero at you to try and stop you from winning. Iron Man, Invincible. When you perform and activate action, if Iron Man Invincible is in your domain, you must immediately discard a random card from your hand. You still get to do it, but you have to discard first, and you might end up discarding a card you need. Captain America Steve Rogers. Captain America Steve Rogers is defeated, reveal cards from the top of the Fate deck until you find a targeted Fate card for the villain who defeated Captain Rogers. Then play it on that villain. Interesting. You might think but he's targeted towards Doc Ock, isn't Doc Ock into him? Except you could potentially move him to a different zone, and then makes it somebody else's problem. Here we go, some effect cards. We have 4 copies of Armless. Remove an ally or villain item from any domain and shuffle it back into that villain's deck. So this is kind of a neat one, because I like how they list some of these like this. It's obviously supposed to go card Doc Ock is the name of the card as well as the symbol on it. But I like the idea that potentially this could be used on anyone. I just like that as a concept. And then finally we have an event card. This is get turned sideways. The Many Loves of Doc Ock. If Dr. Octopus cannot play any schemes. So while this is in play, Doc Ock can't play any schemes. So you have to stop and contribute to this. And then reward, choose 6 power, or draw 4 villain cards. So if you beat this, you get to do that. Now, typically because this is a Doc Ock only event, and it goes in front of you as Doc Ock, you're the only one that's going to get the rewards. If for some reason another villain throws someone over to help you, they could also gain part of these rewards as well. But why they would want to stop this, because that helps you win the game. So there's not really any incentive for them to do that. But it is, I guess, a potential thing that could happen. Alright, so that was Doc Ock. So let's jump into Titana. Definitely an interesting character here. Alright, Titana's board. Fair play is for dweebs who don't mind losing. Losing just ain't my style. So this is definitely cool because she's an interesting character. Also kind of plays a little bit more straightforward. So sometimes it's nice not to have ones that are just have all these complexes. I have to do this and do that and do this. They try and usually make the 3 characters. One's a little bit easier, one's mid. Doc Ock is probably the mid. Kang's probably the expert mode almost. And she's kind of the easier one. It doesn't mean she's worse or boring or you're going to win more often with her. It just means she has a little bit more straightforward thing. Plus, it's always fun to get a little bit more, I want to say obscure characters, like you're not as familiar with comic books, she's not as well known as the other two. As well as we can always use more female characters, because they did include Madame Mask in the base game, and Hela in the base game, and Madame Mask in the second set. So they've at least been including like one female villain per set, which is always fun because just a representation. Hey, you'll get girls in here that want to play. Definitely a way to go. Alright, so Titania's objective: become empowered and defeat She-Hulk. So she has Battle World, which is where she starts off in the world. That's how her origin is. She's in Denver, which is her second location, but she is part of the original Secret Wars Battle World. And then Doctor Doom gives her and Volcana powers, to help them out. She has Vanquish action, Fate, draw a card, or Threed. Then she has Denver, she has draw a card, play a card, discard, and Vanquish. Streets of Manhattan, play a card, get 2 power, discard, or Vanquish. And in her safe house, she has Fate, play a card, activate a card, and move a card. So now, this is a little bit different, like I was saying in like Doc Ock. I said there's nothing that ever gets completely blocked off. She only has one activate icon. And she only has one move icon, and they're both in her safe house. So if anything ever covers up her safe house, she can't relocate cards or do activate icons. She'll always have a play. I don't think they'll ever cover that up. And she always has access to Vanquish and at least 1 power. I think they'll always give you access to 1 power and 1 play a card, because you kind of need those to do stuff. But the rest are kind of all over the place. Also note, like different than Doc Ock, she has a 3 and a 2, but she does not have a 1. Doc Ock didn't have any activates. She has 1. She has multiple fates. So that just also makes this game fun, as everyone's board is a little bit different. Alright, then what does Titania do to empower? Alright, Titania's objective. Titania the mover. So, we can look at that quick. Here's her purple mover. Big spiky shoulders, spiky on the side. So it kind of represents her costume there, but then like her hair. Definitely cool. Can vanquish characters like an ally Kang. As she gains strength through the game, she uses her strength tracker to record changes. To accomplish her objective, she must increase her strength to 8, become empowered, and vanquish She-Hulk. So typically your mover can play cards and plan stuff and do things like that, but they can't actually directly attack anybody. That's why they have to use their allies. Titania, on the other hand, is like, nope, she has a little tracker we'll look at in just a sec that will let her go ahead and do that. Yep, so you kind of place your tracker off to the side. Vanquishing with Titania. When performing vanquish actions, you may treat Titania's mover as unique with strength equal to her strength tracker. She does not need to have an ally or her location, or ally at her location to vanquish, and she is not removed after the vanquish action. She needs to team up with other allies to defeat characters. Those allies by normal rules and are discarded. When she successfully uses a vanquish action to defeat the hero equal to greater her strength, move the tracker +1 on her strength. So she actually gains strength every time she defeats someone. And cards affecting allies do not affect her. She's not an ally. Strength by modifications. There's some cards that'll boost her up. And she has power couple with Carl Creel, which we'll look at when we get to his card. Then specifically defeating She-Hulk. Titania or allies can activate any She-Hulk in any way until she has reached 8 and becomes empowered. If more than one She-Hulk is in play, Titania only needs to defeat one of them to win. Now, how can there be more than one in play? Because you could have one in your deck, there could be one in somebody else's deck, fate deck, there could be one that's a global one. it could very easily happen. There's like 5 different Spider-Man cards now. So she must defeat She-Hulk alone and cannot use any allies in her attempts to defeat She-Hulk. There's just special fate cards, which of course She-Hulk. Thunder Strike, Inhibitor Shackles, different ones there that will kind of like hurt you. So here is her tracker card. It's going to show her going up to 8. It gets a little more broke. Plus she has an Activate ability. When empowered, Strength 8, find She-Hulk and play her to Titania's location. So that's actually kind of nice. So if she gets up to 8, she can then find She-Hulk, bring her there. To Titania's location, but her activate icon is only at her safe house. And then she has to then move her to a Vanquish spot. Because I don't believe there was a Vanquish spot on that part of the board. There is not. But there is a Relocate. She can activate, and then she can use her Relocate to move She-Hulk somewhere else. And then she could then go over and vanquish her from that point on. So some of these characters you can definitely see when they're getting towards when you're going to beat them. Like you can be like, hey, that's kind of how I always play the game. At least I play with people who don't play a ton of gaming. So if I'm getting like, hey, you guys, I'm two turns or 3 turns away and I'm gonna win the game, I let everyone kind of know so that like, okay, we need to do something to stop him. And that'd be a thing, like, if I have empowered, or if I'm, like, at 7, I'm like, dudes, if I get to 8 empowered, if I beat, or if I get to 8, I'd be like, I only need to put She-Hulk out and move him, so you guys need to do something to stop me. But that's the way I play. So it's kind of neat. There's a fist bouncing up through the ground, punching the world, which looks like Battle World. There's Titania Space, there's some gold, not as much specialty stuff, but again, it's just, she doesn't have as much deeper lore than that, really. Alright, but let's take a look at her cards. So we're going to start with her ally. We have Carl Creel, the Absorbing Man. When Absorbing Man is played or relocated, adjust his strength to be equal to the strongest other character, including Titania, has new location. When using a Vanquish action at Titania's location, he is not discarded. So this is definitely cool. So he's really weak to begin with. He's only a 1. But he's so if you move him around with somebody else, he's going to get stronger. As Titania gets stronger, he gets stronger as well. So what's definitely the goal to do with these guys is they'll both start off with 1 strength. And if you can get them around defeating some ally, maybe some really cheap guy, then she'll go up to 2, then he'll go up to 2. Now they can perform 4. Neither of them are discarded when doing that. So as long as they stick together, they could become a very powerful couple. Just a really fun character. We have the Wrecking Crew. Each location gains Vanquish. So that's kind of cool. You can put Vanquish on a specific spot if you like. I think 2 of her spots already have it. It's just kind of neat. You could give it to another one. We have Volcana, who is her friend, who also got powers on Battle World. When Volcano is used in a Vanquish action, it is discarded. And it's discarded, Titania gets 1 strength. So cool. There's another way to boost her up. I love this little theme here. We have the Frightful Four, which is a group that Titania was in when she fought against the Fantastic Four. So we have the Wizard. Activate, pay 2 power. Relocate a hero in any domain to any location in your domain. Now, a lot of times, I don't want guys in my zone, but Titania needs to defeat guys. But now, you might not have any allies out there small that you can beat. But now you say, hey, look, that guy has a 2 strength hero I can fight. Bring him over. Something you can defeat easily. That's kind of cool. Trapster for the Frightful Four. Heroes cannot be relocated from his location because he traps them. Hydro Man. This location gates relocate. That's definitely a cool effect as well. So you have guys that will give them extra things. Extra Vanquish actions, extra move actions. We have 3 copies of the item card. Valuable loot. this location gains 1. So that's definitely cool because you could spread out to multiple locations. You can always gain 1 extra no matter what spot you're at. Or you could load them all up at one location and have another potential spot with like 2 or 3 extra points. 2 copies of Getting Paid. When Getting Paid is played, attach it to any hero in play. You may place up to 2 -1 strength tokens on that hero. When that hero is defeated, the villain who defeated them gains power equal to that hero's current strength. Yeah, definitely. Again, something you're probably going to want to play on your characters, but if there's a global event, you might want to play up on them to help get rid of that effect that's hurting you every turn. Rarely, but maybe I could see a reason why you might want to play on somebody else is to maybe get rid of one of their characters. A good reason for that might be is if maybe another villain has a character that says something like they have to defeat, like if they defeat this guy, like they have to defeat this guy at this part, like, you know, maybe you're gonna do something like lower their strength so that you can affect it, or maybe their card doesn't affect it, or something like that. There could be rare instances. It's kind of a fun card. We have 4 copies of I'm Right Here. Reveal cards from the top of the Fate deck until you reveal a hero. Play that hero to any location in your domain other than Titana's location. So that's fun too. So she's all about getting these guys out to fight. So yeah, that's why I said this is, it's not necessarily saying this is simple, like, hey, you just need to gain 10 coins and you win. But it's a little bit more straightforward. Doc Ock had all these different, 6 different Steam cards you had to look at to figure out what to do. Hers is basically just get heroes out, defeat heroes to power up, and then defeat She-Hulk. So it's a little bit more straightforward to play. Gamma Boosted, we had 2 copies of that. Choose a hero in your domain with less strength than Titania. Place 1 strength counter on that hero until they have strength equal to Titania's. So again, she can beat them without she can beat them without having to do anything special. But yeah, you can pump them up. Friends in Tight Spaces, 1 copy. Remove a character from Titania's location. Titania gets -1 strength. So basically, if her allies coming, like, pull someone out, so like, oh, I can't defeat this guy, but I really need him off the board, here's a great way to do it. You lose a strength, but it's better than maybe them covering up your areas. 2 copies of Display of Power. If Titania is at the location with one of her allies who has equal or more strength than Titania, she gets +1 strength. Yes, if somebody's more powerful than her, she'll come over and be like, no, I'm as powerful. 3 copies of Just the Two of Us. Perform a Vanquish action. Allies used in this action are not discarded. That's really cool. She's very protective of her allies. We have 3 copies of It's Only Round 1. Choose a card from your discard pile and put it into your hand. 3 copies of Villains in Love. If Absorbing Man is in play, perform 1 available action from his location, or pay 2 power to find him and play him to your location. So that's definitely cool. You can pull him out, or you get to do a free extra action. And then finally, she only gets 1 specialty card. Because, she's not, planning stuff too much. Take any old job, activate, choose another player. That player chooses any hero in their domain and loses 1 power. Titania removes that hero and gains 2 power. So yeah, this is definitely also a great thing. Like, not only does are you going to gain some extra power, which is going to let you do. Now, your power is your currency, not your strength. But yeah, it's kind of neat. So like, if I was playing against Doc Ock here, I could play this. They might only have Spider-Man in play. Oh, they have to remove Spider-Man. So they lose their power, which is really going to hurt them. 1 power, not terribly, but it's going to affect them. But if they have to remove Spider-Man, now he has to then take extra turns to go around and search for him. So that could definitely make that harder for him. Awesome. So that's a cool specialty card. Then we got our Fate cards, which will have her little face symbol in the bottom. So She-Hulk Sensational. Villain item abilities at this location are ignored. If She-Hulk Sensational is in Titania's domain, ally abilities at this location are also ignored. Cool. And she's only 5. Titania needs to be up to 8, so she's at 5. She can beat her without any problem. Thunderstrike. When Thunderstrike is vanquished, remove all allies used to vanquish him, ignoring abilities that keep those allies in play. Titania does not get +1 strength when she is used to defeat Thunderstrike. So he's very, very against her. We have Hercules. Hercules gets +1 strength for each other hero at his location. And he has the Defender ability, or Protector, I believe it's called, which means you have to target him first. So this can be very helpful, even if you have your 8 power, you have to defeat him if She-Hulk was at his location. We have 2 copies of the Guardsman Vault, which are 1 strength, so they're going to be easy guys to defeat. When Vault's Guardsman is played, you may find an item in the Fate deck or Fate deck discard pile and play it to this domain. As a reminder, it's these are cards could be cards targeted towards your character, or they could be ones from the global Fate deck as well, which, could be stuff from anybody's. Doc Samson. If Doc Samson is in your domain, you cannot defeat any card with She-Hulk in its name, and Doc Samson gets +2 strength in her location. Again, I like how these are kind of worded, because it's basically saying, if he's in your domain, you can't defeat any She-Hulk. So now, typically, again, it's going to come towards you. He's got 2 strength, you can't defeat She-Hulk, which is really disrupting your goal. But if for some reason he got moved to Doc Ock's location, and a She-Hulk got played there, you can't defeat that She-Hulk either. However, I get another Spider-Man. Spider-Man Avenger. When performing a vanquish action to defeat Spider-Man, only allies with a strength of 4 or greater may be used. So it's going to make him a little bit harder to defeat. Then we have 3 copies of Inhibitor Shackles. When the Inhibitor Shackles are played, attach them to an ally or Titania. Remove all strength tokens from that character. They cannot be used in a vanquish action, and their abilities ignored. You may pay 2 powers to remove Inhibitor Shackles. So it's not terrible, but again, having to spend extra power could cost you just an extra turn or playing something else. Then her specific event card is Wedding Day. She marries Carl Creel, the Absorbing Man. She cannot be using vanquish actions, which is what she needs to be doing. But if you beat this, she gets +2 strength, which is super helpful. So that could be the final 2 strength you need to get up to that 8. Or maybe if you get this somewhat early on, this could be 2 that helps you just get started. So definitely a cool idea. Alright, then we'll take a look at our time-conquering friend, Kang. Alright, now we have Kang the Conqueror. All of history is my weapon, you fool. I fight with time itself. You are its playthings. I am its conqueror. I don't know if that's what Kang sounds like, but that's the voice I like. Alright, so what's Kang do for us? He has Kang the Conqueror's objectives. Conquer 4 locations. So this is actually a very interesting concept. So he has different locations. So he has 31st Century Earth, which is neat. It has 3 symbols on the bottom and 1 on the top. But if they block that top, that's your 3, which is generally your best way of getting resources. They can shut that right down. But you still can play a card, activate a card, or move cards. And then you can travel around through time to Ramatut's Egypt, which lets him vanquish, play a card, or discard. You go to Chronopolis, move cards, discard. He also has another 3 power there, and vanquish. Now that he can bounce between 3s potentially, and Temporal Limbo. 2, play a card, and vanquish. So you can see he has a couple of different things. He only has 1 fake option right there, so he's not going to be faking a ton. He has 2 vanquish options. It's 2 discard options? Yep. And then that 1, 2 different move ones, but he only has 1 activate on here. So if he wants to activate, he has to go with his 31st Century. He wants to vanquish, Fate, he has to go to Chronolopolis. And then his other ones, he has some couple of different options. Alright, so what does Kang the Conqueror want to do? He wants to take over everything. Kang's objective: conquer 4 locations. Kang must wait for variants to be played in other villains' domains, then use his own robot duplicates to defeat them. Once defeated, Kang conquers that location. Other villains slow Kang down by defeating the variants themselves. Special set-up variants. There are 4 unique variant cards. Ramatut, Immortus, Victor Timely, and Scarlet Centurion. Each villain, including Kang, get 1 of each of the variants and shuffle them into their individual decks. Any extra variant cards not used in the game are put back in the box, and put the 4 Conquer tokens near you. So he's going to have his 4 special tokens. And then you're going to have a special deck with cards that are variants. So special, if playing a 2-player game, Kang's opponent receives an additional set of Ramatut and Scarlet Centurion. Shuffling in the deck 6 total variants, Kang still receives the normal 4. So for some reason you were playing over a 4-player game, which I don't think you're generally supposed to. I guess because you can play as many players as you want, probably, but you just might have to figure out how you want to do it. Maybe not everyone gets it. Just divide the cards evenly at least. Kang's variants are unique in neither allies nor heroes. When they're played immediately for free when they're drawn by the villain or revealed from the top of the villain's deck. Play the variant just above the domain at a location of the villain's mover, even if one is already there. More than 1 variant is in location. All of their abilities are activated. Do not cover the action on a villain's board. If a villain mover is not at a location in their own domain, shuffle that variant. That's interesting. Shuffle a variant back into the villain's deck. When a variant is played, that villain immediately draws and reveals a new card. Variants can be carded with vanquish actions. Defeated variants are placed in the villain's discard pile of the villain whose domain they're in. The variant is revealed as part of a card ability. Immediately play the variant, then continue to resolve that ability. So basically, they go into somebody else's deck. They're going to have the Kang the Conqueror back, so you can tell you're a different card. Then they come out, they sit above the board. They don't cover up people's spaces, so they're not hindering them in that way. The only way they're going to hinder you, really, is if their ability hinders you, and or they could potentially help Kang win the game. And it mentions if their villain's not there, because I think Loki can move to other locations, so that's one different thing there. Exposing the variants. Kang wants as many variants in play as possible. They're the only way Kang can conquer locations in other villains' domains. To get more variants in play, Kang can force other villains to draw or reveal cards using Hit, Rewrite, Destiny, and Divergence. If another player defeats a variant before you can, use Pythians to shuffle the variant back into their deck. Time Traveling Troubles. Kang's variants appear in his villain deck as well. These variants are played to Kang's own domain and follow the rules for all and above. He may defeat them but gains nothing but the satisfaction that he is the greatest Kang of all. Kang cannot take advantage of Conquer the Multiverse while his variants are in his domain. So it's kind of an interesting idea. How do we conquer locations? Defeats variants using robot duplicates. This item must be attached to the variant by using an activated action and by paying 1 power. Kang can defeat variants that the robot duplicate is attached to. If that variant is at a location in another player's domain, he conquers that location, places a conquer token there. Kang does not conquer locations in his own domain. He cannot conquer the same location more than once, and he needs to only needs to defeat 1 variant at a location to conquer it. So if they have 2 or 3, he only needs to defeat 1. Mastering the Multiverse. There's some various cards you can use to do that, so I'm not going to read through all them. Okay, so that's very interesting. So let's look at his variants, and then we'll hop into the rest of his deck. So we're going to look at the back of his card. I always like to see what those look like. Oh, we didn't look at his mover either. Here's his mover. Blue. I love this one because it is 100% reversible. Like all the other ones, is usually a front and a back. Like, clearly, his is nope, you can be either direction. Yeah, definitely cool. Kind of interesting, though, that he's blue when his main colors are purple and green. But, Titania's more purple already. I could have seen him use the green, but maybe they already had enough green characters. Alright, so here is his back of his card artwork. See, he has variants all around. There's his head. Chronopolis down the bottom, blasting up into the multiverse. In the corners, there's little hourglasses. Alright, so let's look at our things. We have 4 copies of each. So I'm missing one of my Rama Tuts for some reason. Probably just on the back. There it is. On the back of the heroes. Alright, Rama Tut says, villains at this location gain one less power each time they gain power. So this is the thing. If it's in your domain, definitely going to suck because it's going to slow you down. If it's on one of your other that's a fun mix between these things. If this is in somebody else's domain, so if it's in Doc Ock's domain, it's going to mess with him. It's going to make them gain one less power each time they gain power. So they're going to want to try and defeat him for that reason, as well as stopping you. But you, on the other hand, might not want to get rid of all your variants immediately as soon as they enter, just because these things can pop in there and slow down your opponents. We have Immortus. Villains at this location cannot perform fate actions. We have Victor Timely. Villains at this location must pay 1 additional power to play the cost of any card they play. And then finally we have the Scarlet Centurion. Villains at this location cannot perform activate actions. This is a really cool idea, having 4 different ones. I don't know how many other different versions of Kang there are. Like, I know there's a lot of different versions of Kang the Conqueror himself, but ones where he has a fully different name. Because it would have been almost cooler to have 12 different Kangs. I get where they want the same 4 in each deck. That way it's kind of like, hey, each player has the same thing. It's less abilities, less effects to try and remember. But it would have been kind of cool if they just had 12 different ones. Even if they, again, had shared some of the same abilities, that would have been kind of fine with me too. But still a neat, different mechanic. Excuse me. Alright, let's look at some of our allies. We have Ravenona Renslayer Princess. Maybe plague or relocated to any location in any domain. Villains other than Kang the Conqueror cannot defeat variants at her location. So she can pop in and stop your opponents from taking out some characters from. Then they have to take out her first, then take out that one. The Growing Man. The Growing Man is used to defeat a character. Instead of discarding the Growing Man, place a +1 strength token on him. Yeah, this guy's crazy. He's going to keep getting beefier and beefier. The Anachronauts. So these guys are all different people from various times. You see kind of like barbarians, cyborgs, there's a Black Knight. They are not discarded when they're used to defeat a variant. As long as you're taking out a variant, they'll just stay in play. We have a Bull Tag. When one of your allies would be removed from this location, you remove another ally from this location instead. Cool. So just move guys around. We have 4 copies of Pythians. When a Pythian are used to defeat a character, choose a card from the villain's discard pile and shuffle it back into their villain deck. So this will help them get there quicker without having to wait for them to go through their entire deck and reshuffle. We have Olaf, a giant cloud monster. When performing a vanquish action, if Olaf is the only ally used, gain power equal to the defeated character's strength. Yeah, so I help you play some cards. very easily. We have Space Phantom. When Space Phantom is relocated, you may choose a hero at his new location. Place a -1 strength token on that hero equal to their strength. Oh, cool. So basically reduces their strength to 0. Nice. That's a fun way to help weaken some of the guys. Get rid of some allies that are messing with you. Alright, then we have some item cards. We have 5 copies of Robot Duplicate, which is what we really need. Robot Duplicate is Plague. Attach it to any variant in Plague. Activate, pay 1 power, defeat that variant. So that's kind of nice, though, is that you just put these guys there and they defeat them. You don't then have to also... You not have to attach this, then send someone over to that area to take them out or use another ally. So you just need to get this in play, get it over to them out. When you play it, just attach it to one of the variants, and then activate your power. Now, if I can get his board back open. He only has his activate symbol on the 31st century. So he only has one spot he has to get to. So it's also a good thing to keep in mind. Even if he plays this, he can only do this once every other turn. So I kind of will slow him down. Alright. So we have Flying Phoenix. If Gain the Conqueror's at this location, you may pay 1 power to perform one available action from any other location in your domain. So there we just said, he only has that in one spot. This would let him do it somewhere else. So you could put this on a different location, and then now he can activate multiple spots. It's kind of neat that all 3 characters have some other way to play extra actions. That's a really neat thing that they did. 2 copies of the 40th century deck. Find an effect in your deck, pay its cost, and then play it. Shuffle it back into your deck. Oh, so that's cool. So basically, you use something from the future. Pay 1 power, find this, use it, and then put it back. So let's look at all our effect cards. We have 3 copies of Rewrite Destiny. That's very trippy artwork. You may shuffle your villain discard pile into your villain deck. All players shuffle their hands into their villain decks, and then each player draws 5 cards. Cool, so you can basically reset your entire hand, your entire deck. It's like you get any cards you needed. And all players shuffle their hands in their deck, which could really mess a lot of their effects up. So you might even do that even if you really don't need to. I might just need to throw up everyone else's schemes or plans because they have to reshuffle their hand. Cool. We have 3 copies of Divergence, which has a question mark. Choose another player and pay up to 3 power. For each power play, reveal the top 3 cards of that villain's deck. Cool. And then so as soon as I reveal a variant, boom, that variant's gonna pop out. And go ahead and so you can kind of even usually see ahead of time. You might be able to see looking at your deck. Oh yeah, that card has a blue back. Their card has a gray back. It's coming up. So you might know when to use it. We have 2 copies of the Butterfly Effect. Gain 1 power. You may remove a variant from any other domain and shuffle it back into that villain's deck to gain 2 additional power. Okay, cool. So if you really need power, you can go ahead. Or if they have multiple variants out in one location, maybe you can get rid of one of them, gain the power to utilize something else. Cool. Then we have some specialties. Now, he has 4 of them. So Titania had 1, Doc Ock had 3, Kang gets 4 of them. I love this artwork on here too. All the different versions of all these different versions of Kang. There's a bug one. This one guy, creepy white pale face there. Big giant guy back there. So the Council of Kangs. You may relocate. You can relocate action to relocate any variant in any domain to any location in the same domain. So this could help you if they get piled up in one spot. Because again, they have to be revealed from the deck. So players might be on a discard spot, because that's probably what spot they'll be at when they draw. So that might be when they tend to reveal their new ones. so you might need to move them around to different locations. We have Overlord of All Time variants. In Kang the Conqueror's domain, get -2 strength, so it helps him defeat guys in your area. The Conqueror of the Multiverse. At the start of your turn, there are no variants in your domain. You may move Kang the Conqueror to any location with a conquered token and perform any available action at your new location. You may not move to a location with another villain, and other villains may not move to your location. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. So as you start adding your tokens to other players' boards from defeating them, now you could potentially use this. There's only one copy of the cards. It's not going to happen super often, but it could give you that boost because you can jump over and use their symbols. Plus, it's also a good way to block them for a turn, because if guys are going, I really need 3 more power to play this card, you could hop over to their spot. They can't now use that. You have to move on your next turn, which I'm assuming means you have to move back to your board. But yeah, that's definitely cool. Alright, then the last one is Infinite Realities. Pay 1 power. Place a robot duplicate in your hand on this card. When a variant is played to any domain, if a robot duplicate is on this card, you may immediately attach it to that variant. Okay, so that's cool. That just lets him kind of charge up his robot duplicates. Here, paying 1, which would be the same. Yeah, it'd be the same. You pay to play it anyhow. Just instead, you're paying it to put it on this card and kind of hold on to it. So it's not taking up cards in your hand. And then as soon as it goes there, you can immediately attach it. So that's definitely cool. Also, this is some really sick artwork. See if I can get this to focus in a little bit better. This is a bunch of various Avengers fighting Kangs. It's kind of also relative to the Battle World artwork. In the newer Battle World, or Secret Wars. But yeah, there's a Captain America. There's a Sharon Rogers female Captain America. There's a different War Machine. There's the Egyptian Thor. There's, of course, Star-Lord. There's 2 different Wasps from different timelines. There's Mighty Thor, Jane Foster, Spider-Man. There's an Iron Man. There's a Hawkeye back there. There's Iron Man 2022 in the back up there in the corner. He has like the gears on the back. Sorry, I can't get better artwork. There's a Sam Wilson Falcon. I don't know which version that is. It looks like a newer version. The Black Panther up there. A regular Thor. Older school Iron Man who's fighting a regular Iron Man. The Thors are fighting. This is kind of taking off the Battle World artwork. Where it's usually like the variants for fighting each other. So it's kind of like Cap is fighting Cap. But then they throw all these Kangs that got in the way. So like there's I believe Captain Marvel when he was just a Kree. And that looks like a possible Captain Marvel Carol Danvers. Not for sure. But definitely crazy. There is another Thor back there who I can't see. There's another Iron Man looking guy up there. There is a Ghost Rider 2099, the cyber tech punk version. Then the last different character I see is whoever that is floating back there. Who I really can't tell. But yeah, this is kind of crazy. Artwork. I wish I could get some full art of this. This would be really neat. Alright, that's just, sorry, I was just gushing a little bit over that. Alright, so the last thing we have to go through is the Global Fate deck. So this is the one that doesn't have symbols in the bottom corner. That is, will attack everybody. Oh, no, we don't want to go over that yet. We want to go over Kang's Fate deck first. Yeah, that might be more important. Who's going to try and stop Kang? We have the Terminatrix, Romanova, who's also his ally, Romanova Renslayer. If Terminatrix is in Kang the Conqueror's domain, he cannot activate Robot Duplicate. So there's one version that's trying to help him, one version that's trying to hurt him. We have the Black Knight. When performing a Vanquish action, defeat Black Knight. No more than one ally may be used. He has to have an honorable duel. We have Ant-Man the Avenger. When a -1 strength token would be placed on Ant-Man, place a +1 strength token on him instead. That's kind of cool. Wasp the Avenger. Well, Wasp Avenger is in your domain. You cannot relocate or play villains to other domains. Kind of cool. You can see they're kind of in the quantum burst there. We have Scarlet Witch Avenger. When Scarlet Witch is defeated, reveal cards from the top of the Fate deck until you reveal an event, then play that event. The Vision Avenger. Well, Vision is in your domain. You must pay 1 power to use one of your specialties in addition to its normal cost. We have 3 copies of TVA Raid, or Time Variant Association, Alliance. I don't remember what the A stands for. Removing ally or variant from any domain. Put that card on top or bottom of that villain's deck. Cool. And then we have Time Deepers. Shuffle all variants in play into their respective player's villain's deck. Bring any villain cards that are not in their villain's domain or at an event into that villain's hand. That is crazy, dude. That could shut down a lot of cards. And then his last one is we have Ravana. I probably keep saying Romanova. It's Ravana. All Kang Conqueror's cards costs and activated costs are increased by 1. Reward. All other villains must reveal a card from the top of their villain deck until they find a variant. Then play that variant to any location in their domain. Cool. So I just wanted to point this out before you look at the global Fate deck. Is it's neat that all 3 characters in their set event cards have to do with a love in their life. Doc Ock was his many lovers. Titana's was her wedding, and then Kang's is about his fallen love that, you know, one time is good, one time's bad. It's kind of a neat little link between all 3 characters. Alright, now let's look at that Fate deck. Alright, so the cool thing about the global Fate deck is all the other cards get mixed and good. So if I'm playing, I'm going to mix all these ones without symbols in the same ones as I mix these ones with the symbols on them. So definitely they can be... so the deck is going to change up every single time I add a different villain in there. So even if I'm just playing with just the Fate cards from this set, but if I, instead of choosing Doc Ock, I instead pick Venom, I swap him in instead. Or even if you just add Venom and you're playing a 4-player game, you're going to have different cards in there. Now, with anything that's not the event cards, which are the ones that are horizontal, like the event cards that have the symbols have to go towards this. So this has to go towards Kang. And all the rest of them just stay on the table. All the other cards in here, whether it's one of Kang's or it's Titana's or it's just Spider-Man, when they're played, they can be targeted to any player. The ones with the symbols on the bottom, though, is so that you can like draw that and you can be like, oh, that was from Kang's. It's probably going to hurt him more. But there could be times when it might be, hey, it's more beneficial for me to play that on Doc Ock or Titana instead of Kang, just because maybe you're worried about them doing that specific effect. The same thing with these can be played on anybody. So we have Spider-Man, the friendly neighborhood. If Spider-Man is in your domain, you cannot win the game. You can clearly see why this is a powerful card, because it could stop everybody. We have Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. Other heroes in Miss Marvel's domain cannot lose strength. So that can be very helpful. Doctor Strange. When Doctor Strange is played with the top 6 cards of the targeted player's villain deck, discard any of those cards and return the rest to the top of the villain deck in any order. Now this could be a crazy one to play against with Kang in the set, because if during revealing them cards, any of the variants are showing, they're automatically played regardless. Regardless of what the effect is. They're going to do it and then, yeah, they'll go through. But yeah, it's kind of cool. So you can discard any of their cards just to kind of mess with them. We have another Daredevil. So you have Daredevil, Man Without Fear. Each time you move Daredevil, move from Daredevil's location, choose an opponent. That opponent relocates Daredevil to any location in your domain. Okay, cool. So if he's at your spot and you move away from him, somebody else can relocate him somewhere else in there, so they can either have him move back to where you were or somewhere else in there. It's kind of a neat idea. Captain Marvel, Avenger. Each time any villain performs a vanquish action, immediately relocate Captain Marvel to that villain's location. Captain America, Sam Wilson. He has the Protector. Must be defeated before other heroes without Protector in this domain. Cool. So has to be defeated. Ghost Spider, or Gwen Stacy. Each time another character is played to Ghost Spider's location, place a +1 strength token on her. Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew. Allies cannot be relocated from this location. Winter Soldier. When Winter Soldier is defeated, choose another player. They may defeat any character in your domain. Cool. Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Cannot have less than 3 strength. So that's kind of cool. Spider-Gwen gains strength. He can't be reduced. Kind of a neat little back and forth. And then Silk. When Silk is played, relocate any character in her domain to her location. Alright, so those are our generic, or our global allies. And we have a bunch of events. Now these are ones where people might want to team up. So these stay out in the middle of the table. And everyone, it affects everyone. So it says, Spider-Verse, you must pay 2 power to vanquish or defeat a character. Reward, for each ally at this event, you may remove 1 hero from any domain. Cool, yeah, so it costs 10. So this might be definitely something that multiple characters want to gang up and do. Now, looking at the different things they need to do, because Kang doesn't really need to vanquish anybody, he could probably ignore this. It's not really hurting him too much. Titana, she needs to be defeating people left and right. Doc Ock, he only needs to defeat a couple of things, and if he's already done that, he could maybe ignore this one as well. So this is kind of where these events are kind of interesting. The end of time. Villains can not perform more than 3 actions on their turn. For reward, for each of your allies at this event, either gain 1 power, draw 1 card, or place 1 strength token on an ally. Definitely cool. We have Mysteries of the Mystic Arts. Each time a targeted fate card is played to its specific villain, place a +1 strength token on any hero in that domain. Reward, find any card in the fate deck and discard it. Yeah, that could be powerful. And then our last one is, This Is Our City. So all the different Avengers. It's kind of neat because it's, again, it's brand new artwork. It's all the ones from this set. Even though those characters probably have never been all sitting together like that in a comic. Relocate actions. Only move ally or item cards to an adjacent location. Allies can relocate to an event. Cool, so you can only move to an adjacent location. This is basically stopping them from moving things to other areas. So this, again, could be a thing where, like, Titanium might not be as worried about it. Doc Ock, maybe. Kang, he probably doesn't like this card because he can't move stuff to other areas to defeat things. For each of your allies at this event, you may relocate 1 hero to any location in any domain. The only reason Titania or Doc Ock might really be concerned if they're trying to defeat Spider-Man or She-Hulk, respectively, and this card's preventing them from moving that out, from moving that hero to where they need to be. But there's other characters who might say you have to defeat someone at this specific location. It could hurt them more or less. Alright, so that's definitely cool. So this was a long video. So yeah, I just want to go through everything, but it's definitely awesome. Yeah, so if you're really fun with this, another, again, standalone set. Pick this up, just play as these 3 characters. Or you could pick up the other sets. Infinite Power, Mischief and Malice, or We Are Venom. Infinite Power has Thanos, Hela, Taskmaster, Killmonger, and Ultron. Mischief and Malice has Loki, MODOK, and Madame Mystique. or Madam Mask, and Venom, of course, just has Venom. Yeah, so you can definitely go ahead and pick up these other sets as well and add a bunch of different combinations, as well as mixing the games. You can mix the common fate decks, the global ones I was saying. With any other Marvel sets, remove all events from the deck. Combine all the fate decks with all the heroes, effects, items. It says before adding the fate decks, deal out 11 face down cards. This is the deck you'll be playing with. You can add the specific villains to this deck. It says you're playing with events, shuffle all the common fate events, draw 4 events, add them. Then a new fate deck to create this, again, the specific decks. Basically, you want to have 15 cards in the deck, 11 regular cards, and then 4 event cards. Now, could you just combine everything together? Sure, you definitely could. If you're playing with each of these other 2 sets, not counting the Venom one, you probably then end up with like a 30, 40 some card deck. The only thing is it's going to be a lot harder to get them event cards out, maybe versus just getting a ton of heroes. So it's something you could definitely do. But yeah, that's what they're kind of saying you can do. I know Venom adds 1 extra card, I believe. Cool. That's what we have for this. Hope to see you guys in the next video. See you later. Bye.